I'm Megan with Bodywise Physical Therapy in Portland, Oregon, and I'm excited to be back here today with the second installment of Becoming Bodywise. Today, I'm going to talk to you about foundational alignment. This is probably one of my all-time favorite practices and exercises, and it not only helps you come into a better posture and alignment in your body, but it helps influence and settle your nervous system toward a more parasympathetic state. And to me, that's what true foundational alignment is coming into alignment with the core and essence of who you are, mind, body, soul. So let's get started. I'm going to step back here so you can see from the side. This gives a little bit more information, and I'll go to where you can actually see my feet. Okay, so always starting at the base. And many of us tend to be kind of on our toes or ahead of ourselves. Again, that's more of a sympathetic nervous system doing, going state. So we want to root in, to settle back, to come home to ourselves. Rooting into the heels, about 60% of your weight is there. From there, you want to think about the big toe ball mount and the little toe ball mount tacking down. All 3 points creating some stability. You'll feel your foot then begin to energize a little bit, like the arch is lifting the foot muscles, the intrinsics are working, as if you're drawing energy out of the earth. Bring your attention then to your knees. So if your weight is toward your toes, you probably tend to lock your knees. So rooting into the heels, soften the knees, not bent, just unlocked. So they're just not back here, just a little bit soft. The next part is the pelvis, and this is all going to tie into the knees as well. So if you think about 3 points, these 2 bumps on the front of your hips and your pubic bone. So we have a triangle. And when you're sideways to a mirror, that's sometimes helpful if you're just starting this, you think about 3 flashlights, and they're all facing forward on the horizon, okay? And as you do that and you lift the belly button up and you pull the tailbone under, you start to feel this activation, this connection in through your core, right? A little bit of work in the back muscles, a little bit of work in the foundation, the glutes and the hamstrings. So let's just go through that much so far. Rooted into the heels, 60% of your weight, ball mount of the big toe and little toe, and toes are just tacked down, energized in through the foot. Feeling the energy start to come in through the legs as you soften the knees, so the quads and the hamstrings have to actually engage and support the muscles in the joints. There begins to be a little bit of a lift of the belly button, so some energy in here and some engagement, almost like a zipper. Imagine from the pelvis up into the ribs, and a little bit of work in the glutes. The next piece we want to think about is the ribs. So oftentimes if we stand and try to stand up straight, there's a tendency to overarch here in the mid to lower back and flaring the ribs out. So think about with an inhale breath, they're widening, and as you exhale, they funnel together. So it brings a little bit of work, like you're drawing the ribs gently together, okay? So let's put that together again. Rooted into the heels, energized in the foot, 3 points of contact, knees are soft, pelvis forward on the horizon. There's a zipper from the pelvic bone up into the ribs. The glutes are a little engaged and the back is engaged. As you let your arms just rest by your side, oftentimes they tend to fall palm towards you or maybe even back. And that's related to this sense of tightness or closing that happens in the chest. So with intention, turn the palms to the front of the room. And imagine that the invitation for that comes from this gentle wrapping of the shoulder blades back and down. So if you think about the shoulder blades wrap back and it wraps the palms toward the front. So it just feels like that area is working. Imagine that you've got your own back. And that goes along with the heart being more open, okay? The next piece is the alignment of the neck. And this is already changing because we've set the foundation so far. But if you take your fist, put your thumb on top, this is your own personal apple. And your apple fits from the notch on your chest to under your chin. So if you put that there, you can see how that makes your neck nice and long. If you imagine that you're sitting at your desk sometime and you drop your apple, then that's changing that posture. So just thinking about that, having that vision. And then your eyes are again forward on the horizon and you're tall from the top of your head. So let's go through the whole thing together, okay? So you're rooted into your heels, 60% of your weight is back there. Ball mount of the big toe and the little toe are down. There's an energy from the earth through the arch. You're feeling those muscles lifting and connecting. The knees are soft and the legs are starting to be engaged. The pelvis is forward on the horizon, these 3 points, and there's a sense of connection through the core, lifting from the belly button up to the ribs, and the ribs wrapping gently together. A little bit of work in the muscles in the back as well, so it's floating your spine. Palms turn to the front of the room, shoulder blades wrapping gently back and down. That's not squeezing together, but just feeling that subtle bit of support back there. The chest and the heart are open. The eyes are forward on the horizon. There's just enough space for your apple, and you feel really tall from the top of your head. One more time, rooted into the heels, 60% of your weight. Feel the energy of the arches, but relax the toes. The knees are soft. The legs are energized. Pelvis is forward on the horizon, and the belly button lifts up between the ribs. Chest is open, shoulder blades wrap back and down, palms facing the front of the room. Eyes are forward on the horizon and you're tall from the top of your head. Great. So you can stay in that if you wish, or you can take a break and listen as we wrap up. I just want to name that that's not easy. For one thing, everything that we do, most of us, is forward. Whether we're at a desk or we're cooking or we're driving or we're taking care of kids, everything is forward. And we get tight in the hip flexors and we get tight in this chest area. So physically alone, we're working the opposite side of that. So it's definitely a lot of physical work as well as concentration, because it's different than how we typically move. The other piece of that I want to name is that this is also a posture of protection, a posture where we're kind of closing our heart or taking care of ourselves, or can relate to trauma. So just naming that changing this posture, if that's true for you, can feel awkward and maybe vulnerable and maybe even emotional. So just be gentle with yourself as you approach this practice. I generally recommend to clients that they do it for a minute or two, 10 times a day, but peppering that throughout the day so that you're doing it in a place that feels safe, that you feel like you can get a really good felt sense of what's going on with it, maybe using a mirror, and you'll start to notice that you're going to get stronger in through your core and feel like you have more endurance to sustain that. And also noticing that there's a sense of calm that comes with this. So maybe you choose to do it if you're tired of sitting at your desk, but maybe try this if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed or anxious. And just notice how the body's wisdom of embodying that place of rooting, stability, calm, connected, engaged, supported, actually influences your nervous system more toward that state of feeling settled, where you can really listen into yourself. So thanks again for being here. And if you have any questions or comments, you can reach me directly through the website, becomebodywise.net, and on the Contact Us page, there's a direct connection to my email.